All right, it's week 2 of the LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. It's Saturday here, and I'm joined by Broxah. A lot of brutal games today, and his unfortunately no exception, ending that game against Cloud9 with a loss. Broxah, I just want to say, I was watching Media Sneaky and Doublelift co-stream, and they were just talking the entire time about how amazing you were playing. And so there was a lot of praise for you in that. I think they were all feeling kind of bad after the loss for you. So, how do you feel about your performance, and is it tough then facing that loss, given perhaps some of the great plays that you made?
Um, well, there's no doubt that I'm in a slightly emotional state right now, and you did offer me the opportunity to wait and do the interview tomorrow, but I thought that why not go with it? Usually I guess the emotional interviews are some of the best ones. Honestly, I'm really devastated right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still shaking a little bit for many reasons, but I really, really wanted this to be a statement game from not only me, but from the entire team. This year has been really, really rough so far, and we just needed this win so badly. I felt like we just gave it all we had. It was so close, like some really small mistakes ended up changing the outcome. And sure, I played a pretty good Lee Sin game, but I feel like, at least for me personally, whenever I'm in this position, whenever I lose, that loss just overshadows everything else. And obviously there's still a lot of hope and all that, and we still have a good chance of actually making it really far and going to Worlds and all that. But man, I'm taking losses like this really, really hard. Just thinking about all the small things I could have done different, or how much this win could have meant to us. And in a way, that's probably not the best way to think about it. But I am a competitor, right? So it always takes a little bit of time to accept these losses.
I mean, it's been tough. I think for people to watch some of these CLG games. I'm sure tougher to play in them because it feels like so frequently you guys have the game ready to go, and then just a series of kind of maybe small mistakes at the end cause it to crumble from your hands. So I don't know if that's the feeling you have about these games. If you think that there's anything in particular that's causing it to get to this point where it so often
Mm.
looks like you might be on the cusp and then it just goes sideways.
Honestly, that's kind of the feeling I've had for most of the games that I've played with this team. Uh, Even some of the games that I saw them playing without me. I think if you look at the scoreboard, it looks like our team is horrible. Like we look completely terrible. But I mean, obviously we're not a good team, then we wouldn't be this far down the standings. But at the same time, in a lot of the games we had, if I look back at them, uh, there were so many small things, like just small things that we could have done differently to actually change the outcome. And all these victories are just living out of our hands. And in the beginning, it's like if you lose a game here and there, it's not the end of the world. But at one point, I don't really know what our score is right now. I think it's 6-17 or something
Yeah.
crazy like this. Like at one point, it adds up and it becomes really difficult because I felt like, I mean, I still feel like getting top 8, let's say, to get into playoffs is very realistic. It should be pretty easy, but we need wins because we're falling behind. And yeah, I mean, all the games are so close, so it's really sad that we always lose all of them. For what it's worth, I think this weekend we changed our mindset. I think last week we played really passive as a team, and we got a lot of flack for that, which I think was deserved. But this week we've been playing really proactive. We've been making plays. We've been um, forcing the opponents to play our game rather than always playing theirs. And now we just really need to make sure that we don't make all these silly mistakes and actually close out the games because yeah,
Is it
we need the wins.
is on the outside? I think it's tough for people to kind of understand where these mistakes are coming from. Do you think it's just individual mistakes that everybody on the team needs to start showing up, or do you think it's like late game communication where somebody makes a call and others aren't following up? I don't know if there you see any singular kind of aspect of your game that's causing losses?
I don't think I don't think you can point out like one thing in particular that has to change. I think there's a couple of things we can work on that we can try to do differently. Obviously, when you're ninth place, there's a lot of things you can work on. And the way that I see it is that every team, including the top teams, including Cloud9, has things that they need to work on to improve on. But I think we've perhaps been a little bit slower at improving than some of the other teams. And that's something we realized at the end of spring already. Back then it was partly because we didn't have too much time. Now we've had time in the off season, but we need to speed up the process a little bit. Um, at the end of the day, all that matters is that we actually get into playoffs one way or another, and there's so many games left to play. And I think we have shown here and there. There has been moments where we've shown we can actually really compete, and we have really good players in each position. I think it's rare we have games where all five of us are having a good game at the same time. So in that sense, it partly comes down to individual play. But I think the team aspect is also one. It's like I think we have really good individual players, but we need to get to a place where we all shine at the same time in the same game, and where all the team play is on point rather than being a little inconsistent, which is the case now.
Yeah. This is our first chance having a conversation since before the big break, the MSI break. Were you guys able to kind of reset? And I mean, did you walk into summer split thinking like, okay, we're ready, and it's almost like we're gonna reset the score, even if that's not what it shows on the standings? Like, I don't know if it felt like a fresh start that you guys were able to kind of conquer your stuff in the off season.
When it comes to that, it's a really weird feeling this year because every other year I've always felt that the summer split was a literal fresh start, just starting from scratch again. But now it's not like that anymore because the standings haven't been reset. And the way that I look at it is that if you ended in top 2, top 4 last split, then you're just enjoying life. You're feeling comfortable up there at the top, and you're in a great position to try things, test things, do whatever you want, because you can tank a lot of losses and you're still going to make playoffs relatively easily. But if you're in a position like we are, let's say the bottom 4, it's going to be a long split, and it's going to be a big fight to actually get those playoff spots. And in a sense, I think we used the off season to reset, to actually get to know each other in and out of the game. We started practice like 4 or 5 weeks before the split began, so to come in prepared. And I think that helped us to a certain extent. But when the standings don't reset, you don't get, to reset mentally in the same way that you used to. It's always going to haunt us a little bit. And I think throughout this entire split, that's going to be a big challenge for us, just making sure that we're always on point mentally, that we don't focus too much in the standings. We'll just take it one step at a time. And then, yeah, hopefully we can step it up along the way.
Well, I appreciate that you taking the time to talk to me. I know we're running short on time, so is there anything you want to say to any of the fans out there?
Hmm. There's no doubt in my mind that right now it's a difficult time to be a Broxah fan, to be a CLG fan. Fans are starting to lose their faith, lose hope in our team because things are not going well. All the other fans are, flaming our team, talking about how bad we are, how much CLG sucks, how much Mr. Broxah sucks. But there's still a lot of people out there who continue to support us, who believe in us, and who just continue giving us the confidence that we need to make a good comeback. And for all of you out there, we still got our backs. I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you. I know things are looking tough right now. Trust me, it's not fun being a player in this position either. But there's one thing that I'm gonna keep focusing on myself, keep telling my teammates, and that is to stay confident, keep believing, because losing hope is the only thing we cannot do, especially with this lineup. I still think we have a good lineup. We just need to make everything gel together and make it work. And I think despite this horrible loss against C9 today, we're on the right path. I think that's pretty obvious, and hopefully, we can make it count in the end.
Thank you, Broxah, so much for taking the time to do this. I know never fun doing these afterwards, so I really respect that you rose to the challenge for that. Thanks again for the interview, and for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage, all things LCS, right here on my YouTube channel. We're officially back at the LCS. I mean, I'm still here in my home because we're not ready yet for me to unleash the power of my in-person interviews, but hopefully soon. We'll see. Meanwhile, we got Alienware over there doing some really cool stuff. Good in Gaming. It's their new initiative to help people compete, grow, learn, and get equipped in the esports industry. They've got tournaments. They've got mentorships. They've got scholarships. What else can I end with? What else rhymes? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, they've got all this stuff. You can go over to alienware.com/goodingaming to learn about what they're doing. It's awesome to see them do this in partnership with Team Liquid. And there's a link in the description below if you want to go take a look at some of their new products, including their new, completely brand new line of notebooks, super thin, beautiful, beautiful computers to game on. Go check them out. Link in the description below.